You know, back then in the music industry, you really did have to have a strong sense of musicianship because if you did, it was more possible than now for someone to walk in and see you and want to sign you on the spot. Now,
Yeah, it happened when we played the Cavern in Liverpool. What they used to do is instead of like at lunchtime when all the girls would go to the fish and chip shops or the local pub to get lunch, the Cavern started to do lunchtime rock and roll shows. And we played there once. And a guy comes up to us after the show and he goes, "My name's Ron Richards and I work for Abbey Road, I work for EMI and very interested in the band, especially that kid that was playing his guitar with no strings on it. That was me. I'd broken my last string the night before and I couldn't afford strings, so I played my guitar with no strings on. And he thought it was cool,
okay.
right? So he said, you know, come on down to London, maybe you can, you know. That was in 1962. 4 months later, we go down to EMI and we make our first record and we've never looked back since.
And once again, it was the talent and the look and everything that they saw in you. But now, today, you have to break yourself on YouTube. You have to have a certain amount, a critical mass of sales before a label will even look at you. Do you think it would be easier now to make it for you or more difficult?
I think it would be much more difficult.
Okay.
There are millions and millions of musicians now. When I was a kid, there weren't that many bands. I mean, you could count them all on, you know, 2 hands and 2 feet. You know, there weren't a lot of people. There was no rock and roll business. I mean, certainly, you know, Elvis and, you know, all Little Richard and all the people that, you know, in the early American rock and roll, there was a business there of going out and doing. But in the north of England, it wasn't like a giant business. I think it would be much more difficult now to get to carve your way through. You know, we're fighting for space between, you know, Kim Kardashian's and Justin Bieber's monkey. You know, it's like, you know, I think it would be much more difficult now.